बेसिल मुंह ठीक से बना,
अरे
थोड़ा पीछे बैठ बेसिल, थोड़ा पीछे बैठ।
Henry Miller once said, one's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things. On this note, we welcome you all for this session on studying abroad. The mere idea of studying in a different country altogether excites each one of us. Many of us wish to move to a different country and study in premier colleges. Whenever we hear about someone studying in a foreign country, we consider the experience to be filled with excitement, new opportunities, adventures, and much more. So here we are with a study abroad session to guide you all on what it is to study in a different country, the challenges one faces, and the opportunities one gets. Our speakers would also be sharing their personal experiences with all of us. We have three guest speakers for today's evening. Each one of them is an alumni of our college and has a good amount of experience of staying and studying abroad. They are here to share their experiences, practical learnings, and some lessons for all of us to learn from. Our first speaker is Mr. Abhishek Sorap. He is currently pursuing his Masters in Finance and Investment from the University of Hertfordshire, UK. He has interned from Glenmark as a data analyst for 2 months and has worked for Teleperformance. He also has a placement here with Morgan Wiseman Solicitors as a financial accountant for 8 months. In his free time, he likes to play golf or go out bowling. After his graduation, he will start working for Turner and Townsend as a project control assistant. Our second speaker is Mr. Nikhilesh Rahate. He is currently studying business management in Fanshawe College, Canada. He has done his internship in Indofel Industries Private Limited and agrochemical MNC. His hobbies include watching movies, making presentations, and playing cricket. Our third speaker is Mr. Basil John. He is currently studying Masters in Banking and Finance in Monash University, Australia. He is also doing stock trading in the Australian markets. He has completed financial analysis and statistics in Python programming and holds a certification of internship in investment banking from Citigroup. His hobbies include playing football, badminton, and cricket. We welcome Abhishek, Nikhilesh, and Basil and are really glad to hear from the three of you. Thank you so much for this session.
So, along with the great formal introduction which Sakshi gave, these three personally are my super seniors. Along with all that they've done, I would also like to add a little more about each one of them. Starting with Abhishek, a tremendously amazing leader. I've learned so much from him, looking up to him, conducting meetings in the college, and going ahead. Nikhilesh, super smart and a big fan of Sherlock. I've really had fun working with you. Also, with Basil, one of the kindest persons that I've ever met who would go out of his way to help people. I'm definitely sure that you people would enjoy the session and learn a lot from their experiences. Without further ado, I'll pass on the stage to Sakshi to continue with the session.
So now that we've known all the three speakers, we would start with the question and answer round. And our first and the foremost question would, of course, be how did you start the preparation for studying abroad? What was the research that you did? And the entire journey as to what steps did you take when deciding your college? So I think, Nikhilesh, you can answer this question first.
Yeah, so hello everyone. So like Sakshi said, you have to research and you have to research a lot. Like this is not something like you have your subject okay in your school and then you do a research. This is basically you research on what are you gonna do for your life, okay? So like what are you interested in? Okay, so it's not like okay, I did finance in BMS or I did finance in Sydenham. So that won't really matter. So you have to research within yourself more than on Google. Okay, so where do you want to end up in your life working happily? Because once you come abroad, and especially Canada, it's so far that you won't have an option to go back because you'll be investing a lot. You'll be like far with all other things to say that okay, I'm just not liking the course I take. Then you'll be like, I'm not part of my research. That's how it goes. So you have to decide and be sure what you're gonna do when you come here. Okay, because we did so much of research right from these subjects that were in my course or the course I'm choosing. But still, when we come here, we were like, oh, we are short of research. So if you think you know everything, you know only 10% of it. So do your research and a strong research, I would say.
So I think the key takeaway for everyone is that leave no stone unturned, do as much research as possible, and just do your best when you're doing the research. Understand everything. Abhishek, would you like to add in something which you followed when you did your research?
So, hello everyone. I think Nikhilesh, whatever he said was absolutely right. Would support his decision, whatever he did for Canada, because I remember I was talking with him about UK, and I think I was the first one to go to United Kingdom from our college. So I was talking with my friends when I was in my third year. So according to me, if you are thinking of moving abroad, moving after your graduation is not a good thing. I think you should get experience first because I was the one who decided to go to UK when I was in my second year. I started my research when I was in the second year. I talked to my coordinator, I had talked with my friends who were there in my college, and especially I went to IDP. So I think whenever you're planning, you should consider each and every country, and you should talk to counselors or people who are there in other countries. You should get their opinions as well because they would be the one who would know the reality. Even if you're done with your research 100%, there's always something that is missing. So, according to me, with what experiences I had, if you want to fill in those holes, you should actually talk to people who are studying there. I know it's kind of annoying because when they don't reply, because I'm the guy who doesn't reply because I get so many texts about what to do in UK, how to go about in UK, but you don't have time for everyone. So that's why I think this is one of the greatest initiatives which is taken by you people because this is something that is filling the holes. So I think this session would actually cover that point. The second part is talking to your parents. I think that's the most important part because you decide on a country, you decide everything, and when you tell your parents about the cost, sometimes it's discouraging because of the financial status. So there are types of loans which are available and everything. So you should inquire about that first before deciding to go abroad. Third is to understand the market if you're moving abroad. Not taking, like, I have done my undergraduate in finance, I have done my master's in finance. But what is the current requirement of UK? That is important, not what you have done. Because even if you have done finance, you have done marketing, there's 100% chance that you won't get into whatever you want. There are chances that you might have to switch. You might have to discard everything. But what's most important is the transferable skills that you get from your previous roles. So I think the most important part of research is to understand that why do you want to go? There are people who quit after a year or two. I have seen my friends quitting after a year or two. So the most important part of research is to do soul searching and to understand the market and fill the holes according to me.
So I think understanding what the requirement of the market is, as you specified, is really important, and also getting in guidance from your seniors or your
That's
friends
true.
and family who are there staying. Basil, what was your approach when you started your research?
So basically, what these two people have said, that's the same thing I have also done. So after my graduation, I took a 1 year gap, and in that 1 year, I tried to get a lot of information about various countries. So for me, it was Canada, UK, New Zealand, Australia, and even US. But then, since I'm not great in giving entrance examinations, so that itself cut down my most of the countries. So getting into a better college is not something everyone wants. So it's better to go for something which already has. So if you are doing masters from Monash, it doesn't mean that all the other universities are not giving that particular or that level of education. Every universities are the same. It's just that the name of the university does matter. So for a country like Australia, the name of the universities, or I am studying in one of those university which is known as Group of Eight. where there are top 8 universities of Australia coming together. So yeah, so for them, entrance exam doesn't matter. Your previous academic skills matter. Your IELTS score matter. That's it. But once you go into that particular university, you should know what are their course structure, the fees, how the course has been implemented. So you have an thing known as handbook where you will find all the list of subjects you have, and then at the same time you will get to know what are the course progression. So if, for example, you have taken one unit, so will that unit will be beneficial for me? Am I getting full options? Like if I don't want to study that particular unit, am I getting any other unit or replacing it? So these are the things, and flexibility of the course. So for me in Australia, there is a lot of flexibility. For example, overloading, underloading of units. So of in a semester, you can only take 4 units, but what you can do is you can underload a unit. For example, you can take 3 units, and then during summer vacation you can do that one extra unit. So you have a lot of flexibility according to it. So yeah, these are the things I have researched. And yeah, of course, as Abhishek said, that uh, talking to people who are already there in that country will be much more better than talking to people who doesn't have any knowledge and just blabber around. So it's better to talk to people who are already over there, gain some information about it, and then you can go according to it. So that was
Right. So I think a key takeaway for each one of us is know your potential, and according to your potential, decide what you want to do, and then accordingly decide the universities. Also, just choose whether you want to give an entrance exams or you want flexibility in your colleges. So basically, even checking your own requirement and what you want to do further is crucial. So Yash, you can ask the next question.
Yes, definitely. So particularly thankful for the last answer because there was a lot of good points that I picked up. All three of you, like actually summarized. Knowing which job do you want to go, knowing the market, knowing what you want to do, soul searching basically, and picking up flexibility in your course. I think all of these are wonderful points to keep in mind. Now, during the answers, I noticed that a lot of you, like you mentioned that you started a preparation before you actually went there, right? So the next question from my side is, when did you actually start the preparation? How does the preparation go? What is the importance of SOP and LOR, which you have to submit before you go there? So could you just throw some light on these points? Well, let's start with Basil this time.
so for me. SOP and LORs are important factors. It's just because in order to get your offer letter, what is your purpose in going over there? What have you studied, and what is the purpose, and what will you do once you complete your masters or bachelors, whatever course you are doing. So that particular that particular things are much more greater is because you will get to know what are you gonna do over there. It's just like a trailer of a big picture.
Hmm.
So
Right.
if you are gonna do I'm gonna complete my master, for example, and for me I was like, I'll complete my masters, I'll have a work experience, and then I'll try for my permanent residence. So obviously you never write for your permanent residence just because you are just starting it. You don't know about the culture, you don't know how the people live. So in that way, you should know that what are you gonna do.
Right.
So yeah, so in that way, uh, all the things are necessary, and LOAs are specially because you'll get recommended from your previous college that this particular student has nice grades, as well as his academics are good, and his behavioral part in the overall process of the graduation was excellent. So the other universities will get to know that, yeah, we have a student of this caliber, and they will be able to help us in different sections of university life.
All right. Thank you so much for the answer, Basil. And I would recommend all the students watching to maintain good relationships with your college because, well, it still comes back.
Yeah.
So now moving on to Abhishek, what else do you have to say about this topic, Abhishek?
So I would support Basil about the SOPs and the LORs. I'll support his conversation, whatever he said about it. But I think this really matters if you're going to a big university because my university, University of Hertfordshire. So in UK, we have two types of universities. One is known as the Russell Group universities. Those are the big league universities such as Cambridge, Exeter, Cardiff. These are the Russell groups, and the other ones are the modern young universities, just as Hertfordshire or East London University. So it depends. If you're going for a big university, you have to make sure that if you're submitting an SOP or an LOR, so statement of purpose should not only focus on your academics but also on your extracurriculars because they want to see what are you doing outside of your academics because that's what's really important for them because they know if a student is studying and if he has grades, that's just one point of view. But if you have some extracurriculars, they know that he's the kind of person who would be gelled up with everyone, would be able to talk to everybody. So they want someone who can easily go in the university and make friends. So this shows how flexible you are. So that is the statement of purpose. And yes, letter of recommendations are very important because that shows how much you were good at your undergrad level and how much hard you have worked to make connections and networking with your professors. So I think that is the main importance. And also, I would also like to mention about the transcripts. So yes, in some universities they really require transcripts. If you don't have transcripts, there might be a problem because now because of COVID, maybe they have changed the pattern. But when I went to UK, there was no COVID, so they required the transcript. Without the transcript, you cannot apply or you cannot complete your process.
Right.
So that
For
was about the
those
transcripts.
who do not know what a transcript is, like myself, could you just explain what it is?
So basically, when you have your mark sheets from semester 1 to semester 6, it's a
Mm-hmm.
consolidated form of all those semesters.
All
So
right.
that shows your overall grade. I know in semester 6 also they show your overall grade, but a transcript is the consolidated form and the overall evaluation of your 6 semesters. So
All
that is
right.
basically a transcript. And that is important because they get to see your performance from first semester in each and every subject to the semester 6.
Right. And this is provided by the college, right? Or do we have to go
Yeah,
somewhere
this
for
is
it?
provided by the college, but sometimes the college take time. As now in India, also there are some
Mm-hmm.
universities which are private, and some are
Mm-hmm.
still funded by the government. So it depends how they function.
All right. Thank you so much for that answer. Nikhilesh, over to you now.
Yes, so most of the points for SOPs and LOR were really covered. Well mentioned, Basil and Abhishek. But like for PGD in Canada, like what I am doing, LORs are not required. Okay, so you just give your SOPs for visa purpose, and like Basil said, it is very important because you have those 3 pages of word to express yourself. Okay, like who you are, what have you done, and like what are your thoughts about the country. So you have only 3 to 4 pages to express yourself, and I I have came across cases where there was a rejections because of SOPs. You
All
can't
right.
mention that you're gonna stay there forever. You are gonna apply for a PR. Okay, you have to make sure you tell the country that you're gonna come back again. Okay, so my reason was like I told that yeah I'm very much attached to my parents, especially to my father, and then he is like alone in India, so I'll be coming back for sure. So there has to be one or the other thing. You have to tell them why would you come back, and it is very important. So yes, SOPs are important. And then the other question which you asked was that when do you start to plan? Okay, so it should be at least minimum, I would say, like 1 year. Like if you are going for the September intake, because the September intake is the biggest intake in Canada, so you should plan from the previous year September.
All
Okay,
right.
and that is the minimum thing I am telling you, because you have to be well in advance, because like I said, you are investing so much and so much of money, to be honest. Okay. So you shouldn't be in that pressure, okay, that okay, tomorrow is the last day to apply anywhere. That can be a visa, that can be your application, anything. You can't be like, keeping going on your deadlines. Tomorrow is the deadline and today you're not done with your work. You can't do that. So you have to be 1 year minimum. Okay. And this I'm talking before, like pre-COVID we started, and it was 1 year minimum. So I think today it should be more than 1 year for your planning.
All right, and I think there was a very important point highlighted which I had absolutely no idea about, which was basically you mentioned that you have to come back to the country after a while because that can be a reason for
Yeah.
rejection. I think
Yeah.
students who are watching us should note that point down. You are not going to there for a permanent time, but you're going to come back. With the look that Sakshi has, I'm pretty sure she has some question up ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I think this answer about LORs and SOPs, I think I took many points down, and I'm pretty sure each one of us has got a great idea on what it is to prepare and when should one start preparing. Now we know that there are so many students who wish to apply abroad, but the applications are very few and the students selected even few. So, what it is that makes a student stand out from the crowd, and what skills should we start developing from this stage itself? As we should start research minimum 1 year, but what skills should we start developing, and how should we go about it? So, Abhishek, what did you what skills did you develop right from second year, as you said?
So before planning to go, planning on going to UK, I was always good at the soft skills. So that was the positive point which I had. But the students who are applying, I would say that focus on your soft skills, because the way you talk, the way you present yourself is very, very, very important. You go there even if you're not good with your studies, the way you present matters the most. Because in UK, if you're planning to get a job, the most important thing that they look is the way you talk to them, the way you represent yourself, the way you emphasize on words. These are all the important things that you should have. So I think soft skills is most important. The second I would say is having a certification in your hand or having some little experience before going. Because if you go there as a green means the person who is not experienced, nor in talking to people, no professional language. And yeah, also one of the most important things is learn to write mails, because I have seen my friends
Right.
writing mails which do not start with a hello or do not have a proper main body conclusion, no proper finishing. So if you don't know how to write in a formal language, that's a major drawback for you. So learn all the formal things you have, the basics of writing an essay, writing letters. These are the basics that you should know properly. People keep on learning about the subjects and they forgot the basics. And if you forget the basics, it's all done for you. So I think the most important thing is focus on your soft skills, focus on the subject which you're going to take, and of course, if you don't have friends there, start making friends from here itself, so that when you go there, your life is easy. Because life without friends is very difficult there. I have seen it. If you have people whom you know, every day is going to be a good day for you. So that would be
Right.
my suggestion on developing your skills.
Right. So soft skills are definitely crucial to excel at any place. And apart from that, there were many points which each one of us can take down to build our skills. Basil, what would you like to say about the skill preparation and everything else required to make you stand out?
Basil, I think you're on mute.
So similarly, what Abhishek told, we had this unit in a BMS, like in our first year, which is known as business communication. In that, they have taught us like how to write emails, letters, what are the business communicative, informal, formal way. So this all matters because in India, what happens is that a ma'am comes, we just talk to ma'am, like a casual talk. But once you are in a foreign country, everything works on email. Nothing, because both the parties should have a proof like what they are speaking about or what they are guiding off. So writing an email, has Abhishek told, like you should know how to write emails. You should know how to speak to someone. Like it's not like casual interaction. Yeah, they might be professors where you can casually interact, but when it comes to knowing your studies or knowing your progression of your course and knowing about your employability, employment details, everything, to grasp that information, you should know how to talk to them, because the way we talk is not the way the other people talk. There are different cultures to be followed. So first of all, when you go to that particular country, you should know the culture. You should know how they talk, how their accent is, because the main problem Indian student or any student when it comes to a foreign country is the accent. So now I am talking, you all know. But if I get an Australian mate and if I speak to them in Malay, they will understand me. If I speak to them in Hindi, they will understand me. If I speak to them in English, they will understand me.
I think that what Basil was trying to explain was about the accent. So if you talk to a person who's in Australia or who's in UK, and if they are not able to understand you because you are an Asian, so the way we speak differs. So this problem many students face when they go there. They are not able to talk to the people, and sometimes people don't understand what you're trying to speak. So yeah, it's frustrating at first, but I think when you're staying in that country, you develop this knack of trying to speak as the way they speak. So yeah, many people, many friends from India would say that you're trying to put up an accent, but that's not the reality. You're trying to adapt.
Right.
So I think you should not focus on what people say. You should try your best, because if you try to speak normally, you would never get up an accent if you're staying abroad. And the most, when you give an English exam such as IELTS or any other exam, Basil would continue with this topic which we were speaking about.
Basil, mute again.
Basil,
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Your mic is mute. It's muted.
Yeah, we can really continue. I think there is some network issue or technical issue.
This, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
All right.
Hazel's point was pretty clear that learn the art of conversation in that particular country and try to develop it right from the start. Nikhilesh, what is your input on this?
Yeah, so a very, very important, like, there would be hardly any other point as important as what Abhishek said is soft skills. You come here, you learn from an university, you do PhD, you do anything. You do the highest, like, degree possible in the whole country. When you go for a job as a fresher or like anything, what's important is soft skills, because companies over here are really really ready to like hire freshers and teach them their job, their work. Okay, but they want soft skills from you. You have to be dedicated and passionate. Okay, because there are thousand others with the same degree, but what, like, how will you stand apart is your soft skills. Okay, and like professionalism. Okay, you have to adapt to the culture over here. It's the same, and people over here, they really get offended if you don't follow their culture, to be honest. Yes, and like I'll give you an example. If they say business formals, you have to be in business formals, like a perfect business formals, white shirt. You can't wear a dark color or anything. Okay, but when they just say formals, you have to be this. So over this is formals over here. Okay, when
Okay.
you go and you go on a, like, you or you're meeting someone casually, so you just can't wear a tee. Okay, you have to be in shirt or this. So this is something formal for here. So it depends, and you should know such things before, attending lectures, attending presentations, or talks, anything, because there are so many things going on. And like, where do you stand in the crowd? That was a question. Okay, and let me tell you, coming here, studying abroad, you don't stand apart from anyone who's studying in India. There are beautiful and good universities in India as well. Okay, I'll say that. It's just that you get that extra boost of staying away from your parents, like becoming independent, and you just see the truth of life a little early. That's it. And that really helps you to boost your career, you could say. Okay, but you don't stand like you just come here, you are in a university or in a college, it won't matter until and unless you have a good job and you pass out from that college, you do good in that college, you get a good job. Job is important, and that is how you will be rated ahead. So that's thing. And there's one thing what's beneficial coming here is that you earn good. Okay, so part-time salary over here is full-time over there. That is what people actually look at, right? But each and every penny you earn over here is taken back. Trust me, it is. Because what you see is like, okay, you're paid the fees by your student loan, or your parents are sponsoring you. But no, you have to pay your bills, and you have to pay taxes, you have to pay your rent, so many things that you earn and you give back the same amount.
Right.
Right.
So I think there were many points. Firstly, that universities and colleges in India too are really good. But if you just want the extra edge of staying independently and taking your own responsibilities, you can go abroad. But a crucial point that you mentioned is about professionalism and following the dress code when there. I think each one of us
And
needs to learn.
Sakshi, I would like to mention one more thing. Learn to cook. That's one of the most important points in your preparation. You should learn to cook before you come abroad.
So I think all our viewers, please note this. You all should start practicing cooking from a early age so that you can match up there. So Yash, over to you for the next question.
Yep. So this was definitely an interesting question. Personally, the food that you cook should be edible at least. I think that is what I would recommend to the people. Also, whenever you write, as business communication rightly says, it is GOOD good, not GUD good. So I think people need to mention that also. So as Nikhilesh also said that the expenses are high, right? There are things that you have to pay for. There are things that you might not be able to afford right from the start. This brings me to the question: what about scholarship? What is it? Did you apply for something there? Did you apply for some scholarship, some financial aid? And if so, then how does it go? So let's start the question with Basil. I think his network is back, right? You're still on mute. Okay. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So scholarships basically in Australia, scholarship basically depends upon your previous academics. So
Mm-hmm.
Monash has an academic ratings for 70% or up. So if you get 70% or up, you'll definitely get a scholarship. And for example, you're starting your uni and you are not getting any scholarship. Okay, you are still paying a semester's fees. Don't get disheartened, because in Australia, every university provide a scholarship each 2 semesters after 2 semesters. So sorry, after 2 semesters. It's just because uh, every universities in Australia try to understand their students' capability. So if your marks are not great in your bachelor's, but suppose you are doing great in your masters, they take
Mm-hmm.
that potential and then they try to give you scholarships. So these universities, what they do is that they open a platform, scholarship platform, and they tell you to apply for it. Even if you are eligible or not eligible, that doesn't matter, but try to apply for scholarship. It's just because if nobody is getting or nobody is applying for that particular scholarship, maybe you will get a chance. One of my roommate has already got a scholarship in one particular semester because he got nice grades and he wasn't in a scholarship. So he had to pay for 2 semester wholly. Then he had 50 mm, around 50 or 60% for his minority, and he got a scholarship. So don't get disheartened if you're not getting any scholarship for the first time, because once you come over here, once you start getting good marks or good grades, you'll definitely get a scholarship afterwards. So this is
This is
how
something.
Australian scholarship works.
Right, this is something I had absolutely no idea about. Generally, people believe that the scholarship is only granted before you start the college. So this
Hmm.
particular provision, I would say, is pretty good. So now that we have Basil's point of view from Australia, what about United Kingdom? Abhishek, anything you'd like to add on?
So I would like to speak about the pre-stage, that is before you go to the university or before you go to United Kingdom. I would be speaking about UK specifically because yes, of course, all the countries have different types of options. And even this was new for me, which Basil told about Australia. Even I did not know that if you go abroad, you go to a university, you can apply for a scholarship when you're studying. So for UK, I went through IDP. So I had a counselor who applied for my scholarship. So there are various stages of scholarships which you get. So if you pay the deposit amount of the fee first, you get certain scholarship for UK. For example, I paid my deposit in February if I was going in September. So for the deposit amount, I got £1,000. So that scholarship they named as early bird scholarship. So that gives you £1,000. The next scholarship which I got was £2,000 for academics. So basically, of my previous grades and everything, they gave me a £2,000 scholarship. And there was one more scholarship which they kept. If you pay the full fee before entering UK, you get £500 more off. So that was one of the scholarships which they provided me with. I think one of the key area which I saw during this scholarship part is that whenever a counselor or whenever an organization have some events such as career fair events or university events, so during these events you should always attend them because there's a university representative in that event. So you will get different representative from different universities. So when I went for this event, I went in April. I went to some restaurant or some hotel which is there at Lower Parel. So they hosted IDP hosted this event which was known as Career for All events, and my University of Attusha, I met them there at first. So there are some Indian representatives from this university. If you pitch to them, you talk to them about your financial conditions or your previous academic backgrounds, they themselves grant you scholarship at that point of time. So I think this is a chance for you yourself to pitch, to explain them why are you eligible for this scholarship and why do you need this scholarship. So at that place, I got £2,000 off because I was able to sell myself to the person who was sitting there. And that is one of the reasons I chose University of Hertfordshire, because this university gave me the maximum scholarship. That was around £4,000, and my overall fees were £15,000. So if I'm getting 4,000 off for this one, so it was a good deal for me. So I think this is, and when I went to the university, I started studying there. I won't say particularly scholarship, but these universities also have financial aids. So these financial aids, they help you to go through your semesters. If you are having problem with some living cost, or if you are having problem with paying up your deposit schemes or whichever installments you have to pay for the university, universities abroad help you with that. So if you are facing something, you should always talk to your university about it. I think that's the most important part. So that I would, with that, I'll conclude about the scholarships.
Very important points again. Personally, it was a little surprising for me to know that when you attend career fairs or seminars like that, you can get scholarships then and there. It was a little
Yes.
surprising because generally what we have a scholarship imagined is it is a long and tedious process, and out of 1 lakh people, if you are lucky, you'll be the one to get it.
So these
It's
these are
not
the
right.
scholarships which are the short scholarships. If you want a
Hmm.
full paid scholarship or a half paid scholarship, those are the big ones. Then you have to go through a procedure. And the procedure
Okay.
is very long. Yeah, that procedure is very long. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of documentation. You have to prove that
Right.
your parents are not eligible to pay the fees. So instead of going through this process, I went to the short one, which at least gave me
Hmm.
a limited scholarship. But yes, for me, it was sufficient at that point of time.
Definitely something important. Now, Nikhilesh, over to you.
Yes, so I would add, like, Abhishek really knows better about scholarship, to be honest, because PGDs over here, that is diplomas, college diplomas, they don't give any scholarships. So you have to pay a full fees. Everyone pay the full fees. But universities over here, I don't know much, but surely they do give scholarship for scholarships. Okay, and there are n number of scholarships that international students and immigrants don't even have any idea about. Okay, I can say
Hmm.
that. So yeah, you have to do your research and save money for scholarships as well.
I would like to add something to it.
Sure, go ahead.
So in Australia, what happens is that, as I mentioned earlier, that you will get to know what all units you have to cover in your particular degree. Okay. So for some example, I have done economics in my BMS, economics one and economics two. Okay. And I had that same subject over year two, business economics. So we had an option to get a credit from it. So if you can see your mark sheet, there would be a credit points for it.
Right.
Like there would be 3 credit points for Indian universities, but for foreign, I think so. It's in Australia, it's 6 credit points. So
Okay.
what I did is that I have shown Monash University that I have done this particular unit in my undergrad. Since it was a co-unit from my graduation part, what I did is I took a credit for it. In that way, you can save your fees as well. So
Okay.
what you can do is you can ask for credit. Why? Because you have already done that particular subject in your graduation. So you will convert those 6 points over here, and in the transcript, what it will be shown as that you have already done that particular subject in your bachelor's, and as well as you have shown it to the foreign university, so they will also uh, declare that you have also studied over here and you have already passed this particular unit. So the criteria for doing this is that the syllabus for this university and the syllabus for a particular subject in your bachelor's should have 80% of similarity. If
Okay.
that's there, then you can take a credit for it. Otherwise, you have to complete that particular if it's a co-unit. Yeah, that's it.
And again, a new point which came up, and I'm pretty sure we haven't even gone to the place. We haven't even started with the questions about the place, but we've already had so many points that are important and to note down. So with this, I think Sakshi, you can take over the midsection and begin with the question.
So I think this question about scholarship, I did have some preconceived notions, I'd say, about scholarship, as Yash earlier mentioned, that we consider the scholarship as a full-time thing. But I think all your answers have given us like a new direction to think how can we apply for limited scholarships or take credit points. So since you were discussing scholarship, this brings me to my next question, which is about the budget. Now we all know that studying abroad is a huge investment in itself. So how did you decide on your budget, and what is the minimum budget one should keep in mind? Nikhilesh, what was it for you?
Yeah, a very very important aspect of learning abroad. Okay, and while in India, you'll be having a lot of misconceptions that UK is expensive, Canada is cheap, Australia, you know. So you have to do the research again, to be honest. Okay, and you should know what exactly and how much you're paying for every country you're interested in. Okay, and when you come here, there is a different kind of budget you have to set. Okay, and like I said, what country you choose, it also depends. Like, are you willing to do a job? And by a job, I mean a labor job. It can be just anything. Working in MacD, in any restaurant, cleaning utensils, doing labor jobs. It can be anything. Can you do that? Because you won't get a professional corporate job as a student. It is very difficult to get that, especially in Canada. If I'm speaking about Canada, it is very, very, very difficult that someone is going to give you a job, a corporate job on your corporate, like your on a study permit. Okay, so you have to do that part-time job, and if you do that, you are living a good life over here. Okay, you can bear all your expenses because you will be paid good. Okay, but then you choose to live a lavish life. You want to do parties, you want to go to restaurants and fine dines and don't earn, then it's going to be, you have to be financially strong for that. Because just for comparison, I would say one meal in a restaurant equals to 1 week of groceries, and I mean it. Okay, and it's that huge over here because you don't get street food in Canada. Okay, they're like, even if you go on trucks, they are as good as restaurants. They cost you as good as restaurants. So there's no street food. So it really depends on what life you choose to live, because you can choose, you can live a lavish life over here, but you're a student. Okay, and if you're like, okay, how can I work in a MACD? I've spent so much. I'm not here for like working in a MACD. No, you can't do that. You have to do anything you get. So your budget depends on these things. What are you willing to do? Because I came to Canada on only 2 semester fees, keeping in mind that I have to pay 2 more semester fees, earn 2 more semester fees, save 2 more semester fees, and I didn't get a job for 8 months. Okay, so there are many things you should consider, especially the budget. You have to be financially sound or very much planned before coming here.
Right. So that was definitely an important point. Uh, Working in a MECD and working at different places, I think a lot of people have apprehensions about it. But particularly, as you said, it is very normal to do that, right? A lot of students do it, and a lot of people like to
Yeah,
earn their living.
everyone does that, and I
Hmm.
would say there are people working like anything over here. Okay,
Right.
and there's one thing, no one knows you. Okay,
Correct.
over here no one knows you. Like back home, you're afraid, okay, if I work in my local MIT, there can be my friends who come here. But the friends who come here in Canada are same working in some other place, and
Correct.
the other people don't know you. And
Correct.
I would add on one more thing, that there's no small job in Canada. Okay, there's
Mhm.
everyone, like there will be no one who will be coming here. Okay, he works in a cafe. He's a waiter. No, he's a waiter. He's earning his meal. That's the perspective over here. So you
Right.
have to do it.
Yeah, there is something to really appreciate about that kind of a mentality, and I hope that we cultivate that in India as well. What about Abhishek? How did you earn your living when you were living as a student there?
So I would really support the point which Nikhilesh stated, saying that people have misconceptions about UK being expensive.
Hmm.
So if you see the course fees wise, UK has like if you see Canada fees or if you see fees of Australian universities, they are much higher as compared to UK. Even if in UK you take a reputed university or university in world ranking, your fees for a mediocre university would go around 25 lakhs for the whole university year. And if you take a university which is very low, such as my university, University of Hertfordshire, so its world ranking is very least as compared to other universities. So I chose this university because I wanted to go in less amount as my major focus was to get a job.
Hmm.
That's why I chose this way of paying less and earning more when I'm done with my university. But at the same time, it's a major drawback as people from reputed universities have a better chance at job as compared to you. So I think deciding what you want is your university, your budget is dependent on that. So if you choose a very good university, you have to put a lot of money on that. And if you choose a university such as mine, your costing would be low. Now, at the same time, as I spoke before, that people have misconceptions about London being expensive. London is expensive according to the living cost, not the university cost. So whenever you plan for abroad, you have to remember that you have to keep your university cost and your living cost different. So if you
Hmm.
compare Australian and Canadian living cost to UK living cost, UK living cost is approximately 10 to 11 lakhs per year because the rent which Nikhilesh pays for 2 months or Basil pays for 1 or 2 months, I have to pay the same rent for a month. But at the same point of time, if Nikhilesh and Basil have a restriction of working 20 hours a week, even I have 20 hours working a week, I earn more as compared to that because of the currency difference. So
Correct.
even if you're planning, that if you know that Abhishek, he's working abroad, he's earning 80,000 to 1 lakh a month and he's enjoying. Remember, if you're earning 80,000 a month, you're spending 80,000 a month because
Right.
that's the amount you have to put in your rent, your bills. And if you want to buy luxury, you have to pay your insurance, your taxes. You have to do everything in a month. At the end of the month, you're like, where's my money? It's not with me anymore. So this is
Right.
literally the stage. So whenever you're planning or spending your monthly job, which pays you basic amount, people think that they'll go abroad. Okay, they'll start enjoying from the point they go there, but it's not that. To get a part-time job, you have to struggle. So if you get a part-time job, you like that, but you know at the month end you have to pay your own bills. So if you don't want to do a part-time job, there are people, there are my friends who don't do part-time job because their major focus is just to study and get a full-time job. So you have to pay 10 to 11 lakhs per year for that. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go to a university which is very famous, remember their on-campus accommodation and their off-campus accommodation is going to be expensive. If you go a university such as University of Westminster, it's a university which is in central London. So if you stay in central London, you have to pay rent up to 1 lakh a month. That's the rental amount there. And
Wow.
if you take a university which is at least 30 minutes away from London, the same rent would be around 300 to 400 pounds. That is 30,000 to 40,000. That's the difference of budget planning.
Right.
So looking at your budget, I would suggest take a university because it's not only the university that's expensive if you go in the center, but it's the living cost.
Correct.
So that I would conclude my point here.
Right, and definitely a new perspective, to look at because it's not just the university. It is very important to consider where you're going to live while you are at the university. You won't be sleeping at the playground in the university or on the campus. You'll have to take a place there.
Please,
So
yes.
yeah, something to look at. What about you, Basil? How are the living costs there? Party much? Basil, you're on mute.
This is-
Yeah, let's
So
keep it like this then.
yeah. So living cost over here is pretty much decent. I won't say, because as Abhishek mentioned, location does matter. So if you are taking a location near to your university, okay. So there are, as Abhishek mentioned, on campus and off campus, and I would suggest off campus accommodation. Yeah, there are definitely pros and cons about it. Like if you go for an on campus accommodation, you'll get everything. uh for example, for your food, you there will be like a mess. I hope you all know what is mess means. Like for
Yeah.
government college students,
Yeah.
they know like how mess means. So yeah, you will get those things. You will get easy access to uh university facilities which the normal students can't, because they are in on campus accommodation, security, safety, everything. But yeah, because you have all those things, the cost of living goes higher. But if you take an off campus accommodation, like how I have taken, is that first I used to stay in one room. There's this house, it's a 5 bedroom huge house, and over that I used to rent for one room. And I used to give rent for that one room. But later on, when other friends from other courses, same university but other courses, when we all became friends, what we did is like we leased a house. Leasing a house means you're paying the rent for the whole house. So if it's a $500 or $600 per week, it will be divided by the people who are living over there. So it becomes much more cheaper over there. Okay. And at the same time, getting an off-campus accommodation is a little bit difficult, because you have to show the finances, like are you able to pay, and if you're working, how much are you earning, are you able to give that particular month's rent on time. So these are the factors. And about leasing a house, you not always get all furnished house. So you should buy a furniture from IKEA. So you have a lot of options like IKEA, Amart furnitures. So there are different options. So IKEA is probably the student's choices because it's cheap. So you can
Mhm.
get cheap, and obviously there would be uni discounts. So if you are a uni student in Australia, what happens that there are a lot of offers, lot of benefits. Just your student ID can do a hell lot of magic. So go anywhere in Australia, go to any cafes and anywhere, and if you show a student ID, you get discounts. Let it be shopping, let it be anything. But yeah, in what do you call fee structures? Yes, Australia is expensive. I'm paying around 48 lakhs as fees for the whole
Network.
master's program.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, fees is, but once you get a part-time job, if you can manage your fees, your living expenses doesn't matter because you can earn in 2 weeks time to pay your rent, your phone bill, everything. I myself am doing two part-time jobs. One I'm doing in gas station as a service representative, and one I'm in the cafe. So yeah, I have to manage my schedule a lot. I have to give availabilities, but I don't know, it's my luck or something. Because of COVID, nobody is entering Australia, so there are a lot of job opportunities, so I'm grasping everything. Whatever it's coming, I'm just telling आने दो आने दो आने दो जितना भी है आने दो. It's as simple as that. But yeah, if I consider myself like, if the situation was different, if there wasn't any COVID, so yeah, the life would be difficult. Getting a part-time job would be difficult. But after all, connections does matter. So if you have connections, if you have referrals, then you get a upper hand in part-time jobs. That's all in
Oh,
Australia.
correct. So that was, that was a different answer because working two part-time jobs, I could not imagine myself doing that personally in India.
What happens is that you can give one avail, so you have time,
Mhm.
you have 20 hours,
Right.
but by working in one part time you are just giving 5 hours. What about that 15 hours?
Correct.
Either you, so you have two options: either you don't work, you just work for 5 hours and get whatever you get paid,
Right.
or get a job where you can add this 15 hours and you can complete your quota of 20 hours. So in
Correct.
that way, it depends upon the availability and
Availability.
yeah, and how the particular place helps you to record your shifts. So it's not compulsory that if they have told come on Saturdays at this particular timing,
Mm.
it's not compulsory that you have to. If you are unwell, you can tell your colleagues to cover up your shift, or you can
Okay.
tell the manager so that manager can cover up your shift. So in Australia, there's no like, oh, this is the boss, he can't work. It's nothing like that. If he doesn't have staff and you are unwell, you can tell him and he will cover your shift.
Right.
And secondly, when it comes to part-time job, what I heard before
Mhm.
I came here was there are a lot of racisms coming. So
Yeah.
Australia is a racist country. So I thought that, oh my God, how will I live over there? Racist country, this and that. All are crap. I'm telling you, there is nothing like racism in Australia or, in fact, any other country. And I don't know about other parts of Australia, but in Melbourne, it's multicultural. Like you can find Japanese, like Asians a lot, like 50 to
Mhm.
60% are Asians living in Melbourne, and the
Okay.
rest are Australians, European nation people living over here. So you don't find anyone doing racist activity or something, because I haven't personally faced in my 1.5 years.
Right. Right.
Yeah, let it be in my workplace or let it be anywhere else, I haven't faced. So yeah, so
So many important points, right? So many important points that you covered, right from the budget to how the cultural differences are. Similarly with Nikhilesh and Abhishek, I think the last point that brought us was to have an opportunity taken out of the pandemic, right? But on the other hand, I mean, personally, hats off to all three of you, because I cannot imagine myself, in a foreign country without my parents, without my friends, living in a situation which the world has never seen before. So, I mean, you are one in a generation, I think, to have experienced something like that. What was your experience? I'd love to start with Abhishek. What was your experience? Did you feel homesick? Could you just, tap into that part?
So during I just started in September 2019, and UK was hit with coronavirus, I guess, in March 2020. So it was barely 3 to 4 months. Luckily, I got my part-time job in December. So
Mm-hmm.
December 2019, I've already started with my part-time job. So when it was hit with pandemic, the first thing that came to mind is let's run to India, because I was so homesick since the time I came here. I always wanted to go back to India. So from March, I started saying that I would go back to India because it's COVID and there's nothing now. Everything is going to go online. I had a hinge of this. Yes, let's go online. But yes, there was an opportunity that because of pandemic, we were allowed to do extra hours. So I thought instead of going to India and sitting home in lockdown, why don't I take this opportunity to earn something extra? So I started working. I started with this because everything went online, and the university was taking time to adapt to this situation. So this was something that I saw. So this was basically a loophole for everyone, because I had exams in my university that turned out to be online assignments. So all
Right.
my paper was scrapped. You just have to sit home. You just have to do your assignments. It was pretty easy for everyone. And if generally speaking, the amount of attendance that was required by my university for online lectures was zero, because there was no track. How would you keep a track of something that was online at that point of time
Right.
to see if people were
Right.
doing that or not? So yes, and I was able to see that the condition in India was pretty bad as compared to UK. Went under lockdown, they opened up, things got open, people started going out, and my friends who flew to India, they were completely stuck. They were not allowed to enter UK approximately for 8 to 9 months.
Right.
So I think, yes, somewhere I was feeling low because all the time I was home and I literally had nothing to do. But even at that point of time, I took this opportunity to apply for jobs, to learn some extra skills, because yes, the world is relaxing now. That was the time when you would actually, you would
Tighten up.
you would have done
Mm-hmm.
something. You would have taken this opportunity, as you had all the time in the world. You
Correct.
had nothing to do. Everything was online. You just was sitting home. So I took this opportunity. I developed my skills. I tried to do some online internships. And so, yes, it was a negative impact for the entire world. But I really took this COVID in a positive way because I saw an opportunity out of this. So, as Sakshi mentioned in my introduction, I had a placement year with the university.
Mm-hmm.
So, for that, I had to apply and get a job. Basically, a placement is a job that you have to do for a year. So if the university doesn't give you the job, you yourself have to apply and get a job. So I was selected for the final round of L3 Harris. That's a Fortune 500 company for a placement, and that was just the final round. I was cleared with 4 rounds of it,
Mm-hmm.
and the company called me to its headquarters in Crawley for the final round. I packed my bag. I booked my tickets because I was going to make a stay there in a hotel, because the assessment center was early morning and I did not want to travel early morning. So I booked my tickets. I was all ready with my bags packed, and I got a mail from the company saying that we won't be taking this placement year ahead because of pandemic. We are closing down everything, and this
Wow.
was
Mm-hmm.
my only chance to get in a reputed company in a placement year, because this is the truth. If in a placement year you make it into a company, your life is sorted after your graduation. That how big things were really for me, and I really wanted to get into that company. I prepared 2 to 3 weeks for that company, and this is what I faced. Just before the assessment center, they canceled the placement year. But that's it. After that, I kept on applying. I did not give up. And gradually, I got into Morgan Wiseman Solsters as a financial accountant. And I started working there during my placement. So, yeah, there's a challenging situation and there are ups and downs. But it depends on you if you want to give up and go home, or you want to stay there and work on it.
So many important things to learn from. And I mean, personally, when you were explaining that entire incident, I was feeling heartbroken about how much I would be excited to, work at a place like that. And at the last time this happening, can't imagine. So definitely something to learn from, to not back down and, go ahead no matter what. What about Nikhilesh? What was your story during the pandemic?
So yeah, if you're asking about homesick, and I don't want to be harsh, but very
Hmm.
straightforward. That if you think you're gonna be homesick, stay at home. Straight. No, because you can't survive over here. That's the
Yeah,
biggest thing. Okay, you can survive hunger, you can survive anything with your willpower. But once you start missing home, you are done. You are done because that was worse. So talking negatives about the pandemic, we all know how bad pandemic was for everyone in terms of jobs or anything. But like Abhishek said, talking about the positives about the pandemic, it really helped. And we were someone I like Basil, me and Abhishek. We came here before the pandemic, just before the pandemic. Abhishek was there 7 8 months before the pandemic. I was in Canada 3 to 4 months before pandemic. So we saw that phase where the pandemic started, where we all were in fear, like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen because we don't have our parents over here to take care and to support morally anything. So there's one thing what I thought is that okay, now this is an opportunity for us. Okay, like Abhishek said, what it did, pandemic, and what it is doing right now is everyone is unsure. Okay, so if you are new, you're a little below, and there's someone above you who is experienced. Okay, your seniors or anyone. But what did the pandemic do is got everyone to the same level. Okay,
correct.
there weren't anyone entering the country like Basil said, so you have a lot of job opportunities. Okay, so I got a job after 8 months, and my story was my first job after 8 months was in a weed factory. I used to
Wow.
go there
Hmm.
and clean weed and
Hmm.
marijuana. I mean, okay, I
Hmm.
mean marijuana and cannabis because it is legal here. Canada is a country wherein it's legal
Hmm.
for medical purpose. Okay, and you can purchase marijuana over here. So I went there and I told my dad that okay, I'm going there, and he supported me for it. Okay, like I know I trust you, you can go there. Okay, and that was my first job in Canada, and I accepted it. And that's how you do stuff because you have to be that strong. Because when you come here, you have to think about how will you pay your bills. Okay, because you won't get money for free, and those are the things you focus. You don't focus when I'm going back to India. Okay, when I'm meeting my
Hmm.
people, you have to do a video call when you miss someone. Even I miss, but I never feel homesick because there are a lot other things to deal with. Okay, so that's what the overall thing I could say. If you think you're gonna miss your people, stay there. Like that's the straightforward thing I would say.
Right. Well, definitely a good advice. Toughen up because life has difficult things for you.
Yeah.
Also, can't help but hope you didn't sneak some medical assistance out when you were working there.
No. No.
Well,
Never
we'll
did
never know. Okay, so let's move on to Basil this time.
Yeah, for my experience is that I just came before the lockdowns happening in different countries as well as in Australia. So my first visit to university was I had this lecture at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I just went over there, and while we were studying, we got a mail from the university stating that from tomorrow onwards there wouldn't be any lectures, everything will be online, this and that. And I was in such a way that I was got disheartened by it, because I just came for the in the uni, I wanted to make friends, and there you go, from tomorrow there will be lockdown. And that lockdown extended for about, I think so, 6 to 8 months. Like, I completed my first semester online.
Right.
In that period, I didn't make any friends. Till now, I just have one or two friends, except my roommates. Other than that, I don't have really any friends related to my masters, because we didn't have that interactions.
Right.
So Yeah, so before the COVID happened, uh, one of my senior, I got to meet one of my senior while we were doing one unit. So when we were interacting, then she tried to explain like it's fine, like if you don't have any friends, because plagiarism is the main concept in Australia. So even if your friends are helping, they are helping in a way what they have did. So if you're copying about their assignment or how they have done, Australia takes plagiarism seriously. So
Hmm.
it's better that you don't go deep into it. And at the second time, for the first 5 months I didn't have any jobs, so I was also like a beginner starting my day. I first of all, I didn't have this timing difference because I will be 4 hours, 4.5 hours or 5.5 hours ahead. So that was a difficult time for me to get into it. Timings does matter your schedule, because for the first
Mm.
few months according to according to uh, Indian timing. So if
Mm.
it's 5 o'clock in the evening or 4:30 in the evening, it's night over here in Australia. And I used to wake up till 3 or 4 according to Australian timing, which is around 11 or 12 in Indian timing. So that was a difficult problem for me. I had to cope up with it. And thirdly, as both of them mentioned, COVID has gave us a lot of opportunities. Till now, I'm getting a lot of opportunities for a permanent job too. It's
Hmm.
just that I haven't finished my masters yet, but yes. But once I finish my masters, I might try for different jobs.
Well, that was a lot of things to look forward to, I think, after your masters, if you are already getting good jobs. Along with that, I think we have good answer for this one, to how to handle the pandemic, because this was something that we all faced. Truly, as Nikhilesh mentioned, it was, at the same level. So I think I'll give the stage to Sakshi now, and she can continue.
All three of their experiences was like to make the most of the pandemic and do as much as you can to stand out and just make this opportunity which everyone is considering as a challenge into a golden opportunity and excel. So now my next question to you all is the challenges that were faced in moving abroad and staying there, and what hardships did you all face. So Nikhilesh, starting with you, what was the biggest challenge you faced there?
Uh, Many, to be honest, many. And I have to shorten them up and choose few of them to tell over here. The initial days, they are gonna be damn challenging because you don't know anything over here. Okay, so it's very difficult. Like, it is very different, to be honest, because I would just tell that's not a challenge actually, but that's what happened with us. Like, me and my friend Raj, we came together in Canada. So we were booking my first Airbnb. So we misread it, and we didn't knew, so we entered through the wrong door, and there was some construction going on 1 a.m. in the night. Okay, because that's what our flight timing was. So the cab driver, he left us, and we entered from the wrong door, and it was completely spooky. What I did entering, the first thing is like, is there someone in? That was I was shouting in the house. So the like, when you go to such a new country, you will be completely uncomfortable about things. Okay, you won't be comfortable with anything, speaking with two people. Going and buying a small thing from the grocery store will be the most uncomfortable thing, and you'll be like, what's happening to me? But that happens. And I really like to mention this uncomfortable thing is because the first month it's not going to be easy for you, because this is the most uncomfortable thing and challenging thing you have to work on. Once you're done with it, it will be, now I go on roads, we play cricket, not on roads, it's not allowed. So backyard, we play cricket, we do each and everything. So it's all about you getting settled over here, and then any challenge you can just face it. And what could be a bigger challenge than the pandemic for
Right.
us? Yeah.
Definitely, the pandemic was a big challenge for each one of us. But I think, as you said, adjusting and accepting whatever it is, and then just facing the challenges. Basil, what was the biggest challenge for you?
Biggest challenge for me was, if you are buying something, first of all you try to calculate in Indian rupees. यार एक लेस का पैकेट 5 रुपए में आता है, इधर $2 मतलब 100 रुपए इंडियन रुपी में 100 रुपया दे रहा हूँ. That was the mindset I had for my initial phase. Like whenever I buy stuffs, I was like, my God, a coriander, okay, a bunch of coriander, it is $3. It's like 150 rupees, and in India, it's like 5 or 10 rupees. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm spending so much. But I changed my mentality once I got the part-time job, is because I was earning in this currency, so I could spend more, and I didn't think about anything back in India, like what are the prices, this, that. Second challenge was the timing issue. You are 4.5 hours ahead, and if the daylight saver comes, it's 5.5 hours. So talking to your family, it's like, if it's 12 o'clock at midnight over here, it's 5:30 back in India. So yeah, I have to wake up at 12. I have to call my mom and dad, and then these people call me like when they are free. Then when I am free, when I call them, they might be in the shifts, and if they call me, I'll be in the shift. So there would lot of like timing is the biggest factor over here, because you are in a different time zone and the rest of the people are in different time zones, so communication becomes a little bit difficult. But those are the initial phase. Once you stay for at least 3 or 4 months, once you adapt culture, weather, foreign weathers are difficult for an Indian person, like at least for me, because in India it's humid, there is moisture in air. Here it's dry. When it's hot, it's damn hot. But when it's cold, it's damn cold. So extreme weather condition also affects. Then other difficulty for me was the hair loss because of water. So whenever you shampoo or whenever you have a bath, when you comb, and I'm like, इंडिया में तो इतना बाल नहीं झड़ते थे, इधर इतना बाल कैसे झड़ने लगे यार, कुछ बीमारी हो गया मेरे को ये. And I was always like stressed. I used to call up my mom and I was like, मम्मी इतना झड़ रहा है बाल, थोड़ा सीरियस मामला लग रहा है, मैं इंडिया वापस आएगा तो गंजा होके आएगा, मेरे को ऐसा थोड़ा लग रहा है, डर लग रहा है. So yeah, these are the things I had in my initial days. But once I got adapted to it, it's just fine. So it became normal for me. So these are the few challenges I had during my initial stay at Australia.
I think all the challenges you mentioned are quite relatable to every person when you go there. Just comparing the price in Indian currency, it is really common. Abhishek, what was the challenge you faced?
So there's a list of challenges, but I would like to speak about the challenge which me and my friend Hussain Barwaniwala, even he is an alumni from our college, Sydenham College, and we decided to go together to UK. So I think the biggest mistake I would say we did is that we thought of going there and then looking for a house. This was our ideology, as we did not take on campus, and we were not able to trust those pages which come up on Facebook. If you see, there are pages which come up on Facebook, for example, University of Hertfordshire Students Group and everything. We were not able to trust it. So we both decided that we would go there and we will look for a house. And we had two similar friends from different college. They are from India as well, from Mumbai. So we had a talk with them and we decided of sharing a house for 5 people together. So we made a plan. So it was me and Hussein who first went to UK, and after a day, two of my friends left for UK as well. So when we reached UK, we booked an Airbnb. So never ever go for an hotel. Book an Airbnb That's the cheapest option when you arrive in a country. So you get a whole place to stay all by yourself, and it's the cheapest option. So me and my friend Hussein, we stayed at Airbnb for like 2 nights, 3 days. And believe me, the day I landed in UK after a 9 hour tiring flight, I went to the place where I booked, and the biggest mistake was that the landlady promised us to give the house at 3 p.m. and we were outside the house by 1 p.m. So we had to wait outside the house for 2 hours. We had to wait with our luggage there outside the house because the rules are strict. If they have promised 3 p.m., you have to get in by 3 p.m. And we stayed out for 2 hours. It was 3 p.m. We kept our luggage inside, and we left to look for houses as we had booked some places, we booked some viewings with some people. We started looking for house. So we came to UK in the morning, and till night we went to properties, we were walking around in Hatfield. So I stay in Hatfield. We were walking around. We were not using buses, we were not using cabs, nothing. We were just walking around, and we were fully tired, and we were not able to get a house till 2 days. So we were living at Airbnb. And the third day, we tried to extend the stay at Airbnb, but some other person booked it. So because of that, I had to talk to some other people, and we stayed at their place for one night, and we were sleeping on the floor literally. It was that bad for us. So it was really bad. We slept on the floor, and it was so cold. Me and my friend Hussein, I know how we managed it. The other day, we started looking for Airbnb first. We again booked in an hotel, and then we started looking for house. After a week, we were finally able to get a house. I think that was the most challenging part that I had in UK, because that was my first time entering a new country, and I thought, where I was, is this the right choice which I made? Because there was not even a floor to sleep on properly. So I think that was the biggest challenge that I faced when I was in UK. And as usual, there are some other problems which kept popping up, such as hair fall, as Basil mentioned. In India, we have soft water here, so that's fine. If you go abroad, you have hard water there. So you will always have hair fall there. Plus, the water is also hard, so there are chances you'll start gaining weight. To lose weight, you have to exercise, and the climate there is very cold, so it's obvious that you're gonna gain weight there. It's that obvious. So I think, yeah, pretty much. I think the biggest challenge was the one which when I entered UK was the biggest one, I guess.
Right. I think the challenge which you mentioned about not finding a house immediately. It is a great takeaway for each one of us that if we're planning, we should find our accommodation earlier before settling to a different country. That's very
Yes.
important. So with that, over to you, Yash.
Definitely. Otherwise, I think you'll get a proper welcome like Abhishek did in a new country. So, I mean, it's surprising, right? We all are talking, and it's already around an hour, 20 minutes that we have been discussing this. But there are just so many good questions around. So, I'll move on to the next without further ado, right? Now, this one is a little fun. So, I want you people to think hard when you answer this, right? I want you to tell me your craziest abroad story. The craziest experience abroad. I'm pretty sure everybody would love to hear that. So, let's start with Nikhilesh this time.
Many man again. I really have to think because I didn't think about this person actually. Like I'll speak some. Yeah, craziest experience, many, but like there was one more question,
Mm-hmm.
similar. So I would like to say that, like I said, weed is really common over here.
Mm-hmm.
So the people over here, they are so okay with marijuana,
Mm-hmm.
like drinking water, marijuana. And that was the weirdest thing I came across. Like people don't want to work because of that. The youth is not really willing to work, and who's doing the work is the immigrants. So it is all about that. There are so beautiful things, and that is the craziest thing I could say happened to me. But yes, still, it's a good thing. Canada has done so much of development because of the same thing, like the
Right.
marijuana thing in medical. So that's a beautiful thing on the other hand. And other crazy experiences is life hitting us hard. So I would say a sad story again. Like after 8 months of my job, I know that we we had to go and work in the weed factory, and we used to do the job so like we don't want to do it, and we used to go for washroom breaks, and we used to delay so much, so much that I and my friend were the lowest in terms of the production, the productivity, you would say. So all those things are crazy to me. What we did to escape from the factory, all such things, to making fun in lectures. So there are many crazy things. I can't, I really can't recollect
Put a
one
finger to it,
out
right?
of them. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, overall it's been a crazy experience, to be honest.
Great. So I think there are two types of people in the audience. One which are crossing Canada off the list, and the other one who are putting it on the top. So
Yes.
yep. So well, I wouldn't personally want to say which one I am from. Let's move on to the next
Yeah,
question
you're on the
directly.
wrong
Let's
place. You're in the wrong place to say that. I can.
right, right. So let's move on to Abhishek. What was your crazy UK story?
So, so it was around last July,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in Scotland, Edinburgh. So it was my friend's birthday, so we decided, why not go to a different country altogether. So we decided, we just took a car, we went on a drive. We were there in Scotland in like 8 hours by drive. We were damn tired, and the next day it was my friend's birthday. His name is Shivam. So his name is Shivam. So it was his birthday, and we were very excited for that. So it was at the night time. We were all properly dressed in formals because it was he suggested us this dress code of formals. We were wearing formals and we went to a very good restaurant there, like all Brits, and it was very
Mm-hmm.
classy. We were having fun. After some point, like we had this cake cutting session and everything, and now was the time when you go to a different zone in a birthday party. After some point of
Right,
time, you go to a different zone.
right.
It is understood by many people. Okay, so you go to a different zone, and people started enjoying after that zone.
Mhm.
Things went haywire here and there, and when you are in a classy restaurant,
Right.
and things started getting here and there, and the table was full of things.
Mhm.
Everyone was enjoying, and then me, my friend Shivam, and my friend Yash, we went to the toilet together. And we did this scene from Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, when there's someone who's busy with his
Yeah.
thing there down, and you just shout loudly and you just run out of the bathroom. So we did that, and it was a crazy experience. As the guy who was standing there was very, very, very scared of what happened. What happened? He was looking here, he was looking here and there, and then he started shouting out from the bathroom, and we were just running out from the hotel. So I think that was the craziest thing that we ever did. And yes, Scotland was full of surprises for us.
Well, I did see your stories there, so I know it was full of surprises, and I'm pretty sure it was super fun. I mean, I can't imagine you doing that actually, but well, I would have loved to, see the entire situation there. So, I think by now you are winning in the craziest story experience. What about Basil? What was your crazy story?
Oh, my crazy story was that when I landed in Melbourne,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whom to meet. Like you always get a pickup because you are
Yeah.
the first time you are coming to Australia. So the
Mm-hmm.
university has this policy of pick and drop. Like you tell them the address and they will drop you off for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just talking. We were just
Mm-hmm.
going over there. I was just talking,
Mm-hmm.
and there this Asian guy was driving. So I was just having some little bit conversation like, how is Australia? How is this? How is that? This blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah shit. And then a certain like before my like 5 to 10 kilometers before my house, he told
Mm-hmm.
me, "Do you drink?" And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah, sometimes." So like, "Would you join?" And I was like, "Yes, I will." So like, he took a bag of sorry, a crate of beer, and then we both came over here. Okay. So my ideology is that there would be jet sprays in the washrooms. Okay,
Yeah.
so I was like, I had to pee, and then I was like, okay, I'll reach home and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
pee. Okay, so I reached home and I was thinking there should be jet spray in this washroom, but I can't find anything. And I was like, I was asking him, like, do you all use jet spray or something like that? Like, no, we use toilet paper. So this is how we use this, that, blah, blah. And I was like, jet spray is common. Like, no, 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 no. It's just the toilet papers we use. Here it is, and you can, like, you can do. And I was like, I was confused, and this is something I was like, for first thing in my mind, because for me, I was traveling for the first time as an international. Like, this was my first international travel, so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know about this particular system, like no jet spray, this, that, and all. And yeah, so that was my crazy experience. The first time I landed, and I was like, oh, that
Right.
one.
I think there are a lot of stories that we've heard, but definitely this is something that, everybody might face when going abroad. So I think we are done with the mid section, and I think we should have a small little break right now, right? And let's take a break by making you guys a little more awkward with the rapid fire questions so that the others can enjoy, right? So let's begin with Nikhilesh first, right? Um, so rapid fire, Nikhilesh, say the
Uh,
first thing that is on your mind, okay? We have five questions for you. All right.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the first. One Indian habit that still hasn't left you.
Using a toilet mug in the toilet.
Okay, that was weird. Your favorite food joint near college?
The Indian college, Sydenham,
Yeah, the Indian college.
I said.
ISH, hands down the best. What is
Yeah.
that one thing that you miss about India the most?
Home. There's no other thing. Home.
No other thing. All right. And if given a choice to stay in Canada or in India, where do you plan to stay?
Give me the same package in India.
Well, a pretty straightforward answer there. So
Yeah.
I hope, yeah. Well, let's. I think we are at the end of the questions that we had to ask you. Let's move on to Basil now. All right. So, Basil, first question to you: which is the favorite food in your respective country?
Fat Jacks, the
Fat
burger
Jacks. All
joint.
right. Okay, the
Burger
word.
joint.
Describe the other two speakers in 2 words.
Oh, two words are not enough for these two people. There are a hell lot of words, but to be very honest,
Yeah.
great guys.
Great guys. All right. Great. So, one thing that your non-Indian colleagues have inherited from you.
Oh, those are many.
बहुत कुछ सीखा है.
Example, speaking in Hindi. So I
Okay.
always, yeah. So there is one Australian girl working in my cafe.
Mm-hmm.
So and in the kitchen, back in kitchen, we have this Indian woman also working. So whenever we both talk, so she doesn't understand. So I just
Right.
help her in certain words like "kya" means what, this means "nahi" means no. Okay,
Right.
so whenever we speak something, she hears and she said, "Kuch nahi, kuch nahi," and I was like, "Yeah, kuch nahi." I mean saying nothing, nothing, nothing. That's it. And like okay,
Right.
yeah.
Definitely a
So
good
she learned,
experience there. Yeah.
she learned certain Hindi words. Yeah,
An entertaining one at that. So, what is your
yeah.
first favorite pastime in the country?
Pastime.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
Rapid fire.
Playing
Come on, come on.
Valorant. Yeah,
Playing
playing
what?
Valorant in playing Valorant.
Okay,
There's a
okay.
game known as Valorant.
Yep.
So we play Valorant in university. So we have this lecture hall where, and
Mm-hmm.
the whole university is covered with different types of Wi-Fi's. So we
Right.
exploit that Wi-Fi.
Well, great one at that. Basil turned the rapid fire into a short note answer. That was really. But definitely loved hearing all your answers, man. And I really hope that the lady in the kitchen learns Hindi from you.
Yeah.
So, yep, let's move on to Abhishek then. Abhishek, rapid fire for you. Describe the other two speakers in 2 words.
Smart and
Hmm.
jolly.
Smart and jolly. Perfect, I think. Your favorite food near college?
Indian,
Yeah.
near Sydenham College,
Yep.
GCH.
Yeah, my boy.
All right. Great. So, describe your study abroad journey in 3 words.
Challenging,
Mm-hmm.
full of surprises,
Mm-hmm.
many opportunities.
Many opportunities. Definitely something to learn from, right? What is the one Indian festival that you miss the most?
Eid,
Really?
Kebab.
because I am a foodie, so I love to
Right.
eat on Eids. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so let's ask you another food question. What is the favorite food that you have had in UK? By far the best.
Nando's, Nando's.
Really? Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. So I think we are done with the rapid fire question. I hope the audience got a little break from what we were doing, and I hope you guys enjoyed too. Right? So I think we should move on to the last part of the journey. Now that we have covered a lot of it, the preparation, what it feels like to be abroad, the challenges, and all the crazy experiences. I think a lot of people would want some advice from you, and I would request Sakshi to take up the stage and continue the session ahead.
So, coming to the advising part, it is really important to learn to socialize. So, my simple question is, how did you manage to cope up and, socialize with the people with a different culture, different language, with everything new for you? So, starting with Basil, what was your experience like when it came to socializing?
First of all, having that accent difficulty was very difficult from my side as well as the opposite person, because understanding two Englishes makes him also difficult as well as me. So when it comes to socializing, we have all this cultural festivals, all these departments who provide free food. This, so what happens is that we can mingle with people who are in other masters program. So while we are in sports, while playing, as I mentioned, while playing Valorant too, it's not just Indians where I make Indian this thing and we play. It's just one a person tells us, yes, it's time to play, and it's like all Chinese people, all Japanese, this, that people, and even the girls, they are also excited in playing video games as well. So yeah, socializing is pretty much easy once you are in the uni and getting that uni experience.
All right. I think it does explain a lot many points that once you settle in there, you can easily socialize.
Yeah.
Abhishek, how did you socialize with people out there?
So I think socializing is very important because having people from different cultures and backgrounds, give you a gist of how they live. And I'm very fond of this as there's a restaurant in UK as well. It's Wage Mama. So it's a Japanese restaurant where you get katsu curry, and I'm a big otaku fan. So all these animes and all I watch, so the way they sit during eating their meals, the way they eat cooked rice and everything. So I'm very fond of this, and I met some people who took me there. So this wouldn't have been possible if I did not connect or did not network with these people. So the second thing is whenever you have free time, so university has this session such as badminton session, table tennis session, football session, which goes on in the university. You just have to go and attend it because you're a student. You get a chance to play with different types of people because I love playing badminton, I love playing golf. I'm the kind of person who has free time, he'll go out and he'll play. So the best point of living near university is that I go to university to play badminton and everything. So even that was important. And one biggest advice, one of the biggest advice that I would like to give you is talk to people who sit around you. Because I think one of the many people whom I connected with, that was on my Air India flight when I was coming back to India in last November. I met the managing director of PwC who was sitting besides me, UK branch, and I also met one vice president who's the head of Manchester branch in a particular company. I met him, so I had a talk with them when I was in the flight. And even now, when I'm in India, when I was traveling back, I again met some big people who are at a good position in a company. So these people help you to get a place in that country. So always remember, no matter who's sitting beside you, strike a conversation with them, socialize, and talk to different kind of people. So I think that would be the points, takeaway points for this one.
So, Nikhilesh, what was your criteria and method to socialize there?
Yeah, I'm a strong believer that you have to start the conversation because you want something from the conversation, right? So, like Abhishek said, uh, we call it the elevator pitch over here. Okay, so we have 30 seconds to actually go and talk to someone and portray yourself. And what I came across in Canada is that the people over here, when you meet them, like I have a professor and he teaches us the same subject for communication. How would you get jobs, okay, and all those stuff. So he tells me that people in Canada or someone like you get connected to a manager in your bus or in traffic anywhere, okay, and that person will keep interest in you not because you'll be profitable to him. It will be just because how well mannered you are and you show interest, like you have common interests, okay. Just because, like, why are we friends? Okay, I have friends from Egypt, I have friends from Philippines, I have friends from like very few Canadians to be honest, but all over the world. And why do we do that? Because now there's a soccer match. You have to be someone in a WhatsApp group who puts up a message that okay, I'm supporting Italy. You have to be that one. You might not be even supporting, but those things will let other people know okay, he is trying to socialize, and that's how you become famous. When the online studies, because I have completely done my course online and will be ending my course doing it online. It has put barriers for socializing, okay, because you're not meeting even your classmates and you don't know anyone. So it is very important that you put a small text on the group or in person, hi buddy, how are you doing, how how's going with the professor, are you getting marks. So breaking that ice is very important because you really don't know who what person is going to turn up, right? That person can be a manager, that person can be a VP, and he can just tell you, okay, take this email, you're looking for a job, right? Take my email and mail your resume to this. So it just goes above the pile. There'll be thousands of others for the same interview, but your interview will be having a mark on it saying that it is referred by the VP of that company by just starting a conversation with a hi, how are you doing? That's it. Okay, because just because we are supporting the same team, you'll be getting that note on your resume about your file that I am referring him. He's a good guy. Let's see if it works out. So that is how socializing is important, I guess.
I think, as you said, building conversations can help you a lot later, and your experiences and the insights that you give definitely elaborated on this point. I think we've had 1 hour and 45 minutes of a lot of conversation, and we've come to know so many things that we all have a clear idea and the basic knowledge that will help us study abroad. So we now move to the last question, and Yash, can you please ask the question?
Well, you have given the entire context of the question, so I guess I'll just put forth and ask. What would your final words be? Let's tell a power packed audience what is your advice for them if they are the ones who want to go abroad. So let's start with Basil.
Uh,
Basil,
you're on mute.
let's.
Yeah. Why do I always put my mic on mute? So yeah, my one advice for the people who are traveling abroad, who are wanting to study abroad is that make sure your mentality is that study at the same time, have fun, get a job, okay, and between that, if failures come, don't hesitate, or don't give up easily. Just fight
Mhm.
through it and everything will be nice.
Well, a sweet ending to that. What about Nikhilesh? What is your answer?
Could you please repeat your question because it just cut off when you actually.
Not a problem. So the question was, now that we know that we have an enthusiastic audience willing to go up, what would your advice be as one of the students studying there?
Yeah, man, very, very good point then from Basil, to be honest, because it won't go according what you have planned. You'll be planning your plan A, plan B, and then you'll be getting a plan Z over here. That's for sure.
Right.
So it's not gonna work according to your plans. Life is gonna play their tricks, and yes, I would say it is very important to enjoy your life how much because you struggle, you work hard. With that, you have to do things that you really enjoy. It can be as simple as listening music because you like music, okay? But it is very important to do something you like because you don't have anything. You won't have your parents. So what's gonna support you is those little things which you like. That's what I say.
Right. Right. Definitely an important one. What is
Yeah.
life if not something that we enjoy each day, every day, and carry ahead with it. So Abhishek, what are your last words to this audience?
I would say that be confident in whatever you do.
Hmm.
There, things wouldn't go according to you always. So remember that you still keep on trying and you don't give up because life is going to be challenging if you move abroad.
Hmm.
But the most important thing is that you don't give up. If you give up,
Correct.
everything's over for you. And make wise decisions and attend sessions such as this
Hmm.
one, which are informative. And you guys are doing great because I know these were the questions which many people wanted. And being in Sydenham, I know how things went before and how events were organized. And this is a huge change from our time. You guys have got this event to a next level, and you were able to do it because you guys were confident. So I guess
Right.
this event shows you how confident you should be when you do something. So that would be my takeaway, key takeaway.
All three of the points were extremely important, I think, and at the end, it all boils down to the fundamentals of life, right? Being confident, enjoying what you love, and doing the best, whatever you can in that situation sincerely. With that, I think we should wrap this session up with a good vote of thanks prepared by Sakshi. Over to you.
Right. So, we would like to thank and extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our wonderful speakers for taking out time and guiding all of us. We're really grateful to each one of you for sharing all your personal experiences, stories, and lessons with all of us. Thank you so much. We would also like to thank our principal, Dr. Madhuri Kagalkar ma'am, for her continued guidance and support to all of us. A big thank you to Dr. Ritesh Singhal sir, the professor in charge of Sydenham Alumni Cell, for being our guiding light. And we would also like to thank our alumni who constantly motivate us to do our best. A big thank you also to the Alumni Cell members who have worked very hard to make this event a huge success. When I finally come to thank our audience, I would just like to request one thing that please fill in the feedback form. As once you fill in the feedback form, you'll also be getting an e-certificate that you attended the event. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you. And Nikhilesh, I'm looking for the medical assistance from your side.
I have
All
to
right, then,
ramble it,
guys. Thank
man.
you.
See you on the outside. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.